The 1997 JGTC season started at SUZUKA circuit, and it was Nissan versus Toyota right from the very beginning. Oguri Suzuki in the Zexel Skyline was first into the first corner, followed by Masanori Sakia in the Castrol Supra and the battling Calsonic and Cure Skylines. But there was to be early technical trouble for the Hoshino Racing Run Blue Car, which saw Kageyama and Kondo's Cure Skyline get a bit too close for comfort. Hoshino was sadly left to jog back to the pits out of the race. There was really close action right throughout the field, as the Team Sard Supra of Olivier Gruard and Masami Kageyama battled the Cure Skyline, which was shared by Kageyama's own brother, Masahiko, as well as Masahiko Kondo, the famous musician. The Nissan had got the advantage of the Toyota, but eventually the white car found its way round the outside of the Skyline. In GT300, the Taisan Porsche of Keiichi Suzuki was running strongly up in second position, but that run came to an end when it was shown the black flag. Another strong run that came to a premature end was that of the number 36 Castrol Supra, crewed by Pedro de la Rosa and Michael Crum. It retired with a rather apparent engine problem. Crum, who was at the wheel at the time, was simply left to walk home. Victory then went to the Zexel Skyline, to the delight of its crew on the pit wall, and also to that of Eric Comas, who had joined the Nissan team from the Castrol Tsurumo squad at the start of the year. In GT300, Max Aridio and Hideo Fukuyama won in their Nissan Silvia, despite this little spin. The second race of the year was at Fuji Speedway, and as ever the weather was somewhat gloomy. That didn't leave Toyota downhearted though, as its Supras were all at the front of the pack. The action started as soon as the lights went green, with Toshio Suzuki's Supra turning left when the track turned right. Further around the lap, the Cure Skyline encountered four cars all trying to be on the same piece of track at the same time, with predictable results, and the retirement of the Dome NSX. It wasn't much better for the Raybrigg NSX either, which planted itself into a barrier a lap later, bringing out the safety car and leaving Team Kunimitsu with an extensive repair job on the way home. Through the fog and chaos, the Zexel Skyline had found its way up to second, though the Supras wanted that place back. First, one of the Tom Supras tried and failed. Then the number 5 Zigen Supra of Tajima and Goosen tried and succeeded. It was to be a short-lived success though, as the number 5 car backed into the gravel and out of the race, to the clear frustration of Mark Goosens. The Team Sard Supra of Tatsuya Tanegawa and Masami Kageyama was out in the lead, but it was not all alone. The Unisia Jet Skyline was now in second position and hunting down the Supra. It was a fruitless hunt, the Skyline never caught its prey, and Team Sard took victory. Team Taisan's Porsche won the GT300 category after a hard-fought race which was almost entirely ignored by the TV cameras. The driver made up for this though by waving enthusiastically at the crowd. The third round of the championship was at the Sendai Highland circuit, and once again there was a Toyota on pole, the number 37 Castrol Supra of Sakia and Suzuki. And right from the start, it had to fend off the attentions of the Zexel Skyline. The Raybrigg NSX was also looking strong in third position, though it had to work hard to defend that position from others looking to move up the field. The leading pair started to edge away from the Honda ever so slightly, which itself had edged away from the fourth place Toyota. Further back in the field, the Calsonic Skyline was making great progress through the pack, after starting down in 33rd position. Kazuyoshi Hoshino pushing hard to make up for an error made by Satoshi Motoyama in qualifying. In GT300 there was, as ever, a hard fight at the front of the field, with the number 25 MR2 getting physical with the Dunlop BMW. The MR2 got by, so the BMW had to find somebody else to play with. Back at the front, the battle for the lead continued, and the ZXL Skyline was doing everything it could to get past the leading Supra, finally getting it done as the Toyota ran into the gravel, also letting the Honda by. Now it was Nissan, Honda, Toyota at the front. Hoshino brought in the number 12 Calsonic Skyline with some sort of engine trouble. Its hard charge brought to a premature end, and the car did get back underway a little bit later. The Raybrigg NSX started to fade too, dropping back down the pack with gear selection issues. Despite no longer having the lead, the Castrol Supras were running extremely strongly in Sendai, with the Toms Run number 36 car battling with the Tsurumo Run number 38. The race leader came into the pits so that Eric Comas could hand over the ZXL Skyline to Oguri Suzuki. The 36 Castrol Supra was also in, so Crum could take over from Pedro de la Rosa. As the cars rejoined the track, the ZXL car had a decent lead over the Supra. In GT300, the race-leading MR2, which for all watching looked like a mini GT500 car, was in for fuel, tyres and a new driver. Up front in GT500, Crum had closed the gap with Suzuki and was trying to get past for the lead. Showing his skill, the German got a better run on the exit of one corner and slipped up the inside of the Nissan into first position. Showing his experience, Suzuki got that position right back. It wasn't over, and despite an awkwardly located GT300 NICOS BMW, Crum decided to have another go at it, and despite being held up in the corner, got another great exit and looked to get past, only to have the door firmly closed in his face. In the final corner of the penultimate lap, Suzuki made a tiny error. Crum was through and into the lead. Suzuki, in the Nissan, tried to respond, but his rear tyres were finished, and by the end of the race, the lead was secure. Like Super GT today, JGTC was a tyre war formula, and on this day, it was the tyres of the Supra that won out. Michael Crum and Pedro de la Rosa in the Castrol Supra were the winners of what had been an absolute classic race. As de la Rosa celebrated with his team boss on the pit wall, another Toyota was taking victory in GT300, this time the number 25 MR2, which had really looked unbeatable all day. As it crossed the line, all that was left to do was for some Toyota drivers to say well done to each other. Round 4 and the special GT Cup at Fuji Speedway, and it was again a Toyota dominated start with 7 Supras in the top 10. First of the 7 after the start was the 38 Tsurumo Run Castrol liveried car. The 2 Hondas were having their own private fight, with the Raybrigg NSX getting past the Dome Mugen Honda. It was clear that the Dome car had a problem, later traced to its upright. The Nissans were having private battles as well, as the ZXL car and the Cure car once again encountered one another, and once again the Cure car got turned around. The front of the GT500 field was something of a Castrol Supra parade, right up to the pit stops. But a safety car brought out for an incident not picked up on the TV cameras resulted in the Saab Supra, which had pitted out of sequence, taking the lead. In GT300, the Team Taisan Porsche, which started 6th in class, was now fighting for the lead with the 910 Porsche. That battle was interrupted when the GT500 Dunlop Porsche hit the tyre wall hard, bringing out the safety car. This handed victory to the Saab team of Kageyama and Tanegawa. With the interruption of the safety car, Team Taisan were victorious in the Porsche in GT300, and they gleefully sprayed sparkling beverages all over the cameraman. A calendar tweak saw the Central Park Mine circuit host the penultimate round of the championship, and for the first time a Honda was on the front row, fighting for the lead with the Powercraft Supra. The Dome Mugen Honda got into the first corner first, and the Supra was then passed around the outside by the Raybrig car. It was an NSX 1-2 and a battle for the lead. The Mugen and Dome project car, driven by Kurosawa and Yamamoto, was eventually passed by the Team Kunimitsu with Mooncraft Racing Raybrig NSX. As the GT500 field worked its way through the GT300 traffic, the ZXL Skyline made an ambitious move on the Team Taisan Porsche, consigning it to the gravel track. Once it got back underway, the Porsche driver made it very clear what he thought of Aguri Suzuki's move. The Cure Skyline team probably had similar thoughts about the driver of the 510 Tsurumi Supra, driven by former Pacific F1 teammates Bertrand Gachot and Paul Belmondo. But at the front of the field, Team Kunimitsu's pit crew were proving to be a decisive factor, as the race leader came in for the pits for fuel, tyres and a driver change. But it was to be decisive in favour of the Tom Supra, which had inherited the lead after the Toyota pit crew worked faster. Team Taisan's new Dodge Viper proved popular with that, but not so much with the Saab Supra, which it tipped into a spin. It was victory for another Supra. Crum, Della Rosa and the Castrol Tom's car crossed the line victorious. In GT300, Masaki Bando celebrated as his team's Nissan Silvia won that category. The championship finale was held for the first time at Sportsland Sugo, and it was wet. But the attention was all on the championship contenders, the 36 Castrol Supra of Crum and Della Rosa, and the 39 Supra of Kageyama and Tanigawa. The two Hondas had locked out the front row and led from the start, followed by all but one of the Supras ahead of the Nissans. Drama came immediately as the Raybrig NSX found itself pointing in the wrong direction just after the first corner and had to wait for the entire field to go past. The championship battle was playing out on track with the Saab Supra just ahead of the Tom's Castrol car. As the sun broke through the rain clouds, Michael Crum made a rare error and lost the back end of the Supra, spinning to a halt. After a tense moment, he recovered and got back on the tail of the Saab car. Crum had closed the gap, and when he was trying to make a move into the first corner, he got it wrong and hit the rear end of the Saab car. The Castrol Supra had to take a short trip through the gravel trap and then a longer trip to the pit lane for repairs, while the Saab car also pitted with damage to its rear end. The Saab team not only decided to swap its drivers, but also the treaded rain tyres for a set of scrubbed slicks. Not easy to change with damaged bodywork. In GT300, the number 26 Taisan Porsche led by some distance from the Bando Nissan Silvia, the Porsche being driven with some enthusiasm. Soon, both of these title contenders would be pitting as well. While Bando's pit crew were the fastest of the pair, the Porsche managed to leave the pits ahead, but the Nissan was right on its tail. Running on slicks on what was still quite a damp track, the Porsche got very sideways on a wet patch, and that allowed the Nissan past. Not long after, though, it was the Nissan's turn to find the water, and it too had a little moment and a spin. The Porsche had got its place back, but then it once again found a wet part of the track and had another spin, recovering only after the Nissan had gone back through. The Silvia's windscreen wipers made it clear that there was another factor at play. It was raining again. With every car in the field running on slicks, it would be a tense final few laps, as the track simply got wetter. The race win went to the number 5 Ziegen Supra of Tajima and Cousins, but the championship, that went to Crum and Della Rosa in the Tom's Supra, the first time an all-foreign driver lineup had won the JGTC. Emerging from the mist as GT300 champions was the racing project Bando Nissan Silvia of Max Arido and Hideo Fukuyama. There were celebrations on the pit wall and polite applause, and more of the same on the podium for the champions in both categories. The championship was over, but not the racing season, as some of the teams headed to a brand new track for the NICOS ALLSTAR race, Twin Ring Motegi, Honda's new facility. There would be 2 races on the track's brand new oval, but with bollard chicanes added for extra action, creating a kind of roval. As the green flag waved, the ZXL Skyline said, "Let's go racing boys," and set off into the lead, ahead of 2 Castrol Supras and the Dome Mugen Honda. The bollard chicanes caused predictable chaos, at one point with 4 cars tangling with each other and the bollards. Masanori Sakiya, driving the Castrol Supra, tangled with his own brakes and swapped ends. One of the other Castrol Supras got overtaken by a Lamborghini, which was actually running well, until the Saab Supra tangled with it and ended its day. GT300 had fun too, the number 60 Toyota Cavalier also failing to navigate the chicane. All the while, the ZXL Skyline kept the lead and won the event, while in GT300, the Ferrari 355 of Team FCJ took the honours. It was a great way to end the season. So if you've enjoyed watching this 1997 JGTC review, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment.